How you doing, everybody? Welcome back. Today I'm going to show you guys how to set a budget for when you're flipping cars and how to figure out how much profit you're going to make. How you doing, everybody? Welcome back. So today we're going to be continuing our series on how to flip this Chevy Silverado 2500. If you guys are new to the series, make sure you guys go check out the other videos in this series. There's going to be a playlist in the description below. This is the video number 3, I believe, and it's on how to budget and how to figure out how much money you're going to be making and see if it's worth it for you. And fortunately for me, I already know I'm going to make money on this vehicle because if you guys see the other videos, I explain the reason why. But basically, it's because I got it for free from my dad. If you guys aren't rolling in dough and you guys don't have any money to start flipping cars with, one of the best things to do is go around to your neighbors or even your friends and family and ask them if they have a car they want to sell, but it's just sitting there. Like if you go to your neighbor that has had a 98 Toyota Camry in his front yard and it's been sitting there for a year, you go and ask him, hey, do you want me to sell it for you and we can split the profits? One great way to get into the industry and then start making money and flipping cars. That's basically what I'm doing here. I have no idea how much Chevy Silverados go, so this is a great video series to do because I can teach you guys how to flip cars in the correct way, because a lot of guys out there, they give you information and it's just like, it's not enough information for you guys to get started. So with this information, you'll be able to get started. So like I said, we're going to be talking about how to budget and how to set a budget and how to figure out how much money you're going to be making. The way you set a budget is very simple. The way you do it is you figure out what repairs the car is going to need. Once you figure out what repairs the car is going to need, you go ahead and write down exactly how much it'll cost to repair all those things. And then you go ahead and know exactly what it'll cost, what you estimate it'll cost, and then you give yourself about a $400 to $500 buffer on top of that price, and just in case something pops up. Once you know that number, then you can say, okay, it'll take me about $1,000 to get this car up and running to the point where it's at the same market level as other cars with this mileage and this paint condition and this interior and engine combination and this overall condition of the vehicle. So if I put $1,000 into it, I can flip it for X amount of dollars. So once I know that, once I can get it to that point, I just subtract the amount of money that you paid for the car, the amount of money that it will take to flip to be able to get that car into that market, and then you subtract it from the actual market value of the vehicle. Does that make sense? So basically, guys, I'm gonna walk through all the repairs. There's mosquitoes in my shop, and they're driving me crazy, guys. If I'm like walking around and moving around, it's because there's mosquitoes attacking my legs right now. So you guys are welcome, because I'm over here dying of mosquitoes bites. I'm gonna be covered in mosquito bites. Anyways, back to the flip, guys. So the car is gonna be needing, this one's gonna be needing a couple things, very minor stuff. And a lot of this stuff, guys, I think I'm gonna do myself. I don't know yet, because if I do it myself, it's gonna take away time from my other flip that I just picked up. There's gonna be a video on that as well. So I'm gonna show you guys that, because this is a classic vehicle, this is a modern vehicle. It's completely different ways to really evaluate it, but we'll go through that in the next video. And I don't know which video you guys are going to see first. I don't know if you guys are going to see that one or this one. Whichever one, you guys already know the story. If you guys haven't seen that video yet, because it hasn't come out yet. But anyways, so the Chevy is going to be needing a couple things. The main thing it's going to need is the master cylinder, because the master cylinder is not holding pressure. So that is $97.25. I'm going to be doing the work myself, guys, because I'm a mechanic. I'm a master mechanic, and I can do this work with my eyes closed. So I'm not going to be paying for any labor. So it's just the parts, $97.25, $12 for brake fluid. We're going to be needing the turn signal assembly, the other side. This one's cracked and broken. It actually just has a tab that comes out that attaches to the body of the car that broke off. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to fix it, because this thing is $65. Guys, whenever you're flipping cars, you want to remember that you want to be able to save as much money as possible, because sometimes your margins of profit are razor thin. Sometimes if you spend a couple dollars on a few things, you end up making a lot less than you thought you would, just because you're getting nickeled and dimed on the small things. So if you can repair something like this, do it, okay? Especially if you got the time. Especially if this is like one car that you're doing a month, try to save as much money as possible. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing multiple cars. I'm doing the Mustang, and I'm doing this one. and I don't have a lot of time. So, and I got other stuff going on too. I got the course that I got to make sure that I get it all perfect for you guys. If you guys want to pick up my course, link in the description below. Go sign up there. We'll give you instructions on what to do. But it's a course on how to flip cars, and we go into way more detail than we do here. If you guys like these videos, the course is going to blow it away. You're going to be like, how much did I pay for this information? Because I should have paid more. That's what you guys will think when you read my course. Anyways, so yeah. The turn signal assembly is not cracked, just a little tap, so I'm gonna try to fix that myself. The rear tailgate needs to be painted. It's black currently, so they quoted me $300 from a paint shop. I don't know if I wanna do that. If you guys are flipping really high-end cars and it's like a Fender or something like that, then you might wanna get it painted by a professional. For me, I know how to do the work, but I don't have the time. And I found some rattle spray cans that is the same paint as the body from Napa, so I can do it myself and then make it look actually really good. So I might save myself $300. I don't know yet, but $300 for the paint for the tailgate. The tailgate door handle is also broken, so I found one for 23 bucks. That one I have to get it because there's no handle there, so I can't fix it in any other way. The smog is you have to get a smog when you sell a car in California for the next buyer, and it's also a good idea. It's a good selling point too.
Right.
It's a good selling point as well because a lot of people don't like buying cars that, you know, they get kind of worried because they're like, oh, is it gonna pass smog? I don't know. There's something going on, and it's a good selling point for you because it's $50 and it adds a lot of value. You can say it has a smog. You know the check engine light isn't gonna come on. There's nothing wrong with the engine because the check engine light isn't on. It just passed smog, so there's proof right here. And the smog is done. You don't have to worry about that. That's one of the biggest things that people worry about here in California when they're buying and selling cars. When they're buying cars, they want to make sure that it'll pass smog. And you know, if the check engine light's on, they think the whole car is about to blow up. So make sure that you get a smog if the car is, you know, able to pass smog. You have to anyways, but a lot of guys don't. A lot of guys kind of let it. They're like, oh, it'll pass smog, and they let the buyer do it. I don't recommend doing that. I recommend you get all the paperwork in order so it makes an easy sell for the next person. Easy buy for the next person, excuse me. And then it needs registration for 160 bucks. So all in all, I'm gonna be into it for $707. There's a couple of things I gotta do in the interior, like the headliner needs to be glued back on, which is not a big deal, it's just glue, interior glue. So that's pretty easy. And then it needs an oil change. So all in all, I'm gonna budget $1,000. I think I can do it for way less, but I'm gonna need $1,000 to get this car to the point where it's in the higher markets. So for $1,000, I'll be able to add about $3,000 worth of value to the car. Because as it sits right now, in this condition, being as dirty as it is, I can sell this vehicle for between $45,000 and $5,000, $4,500 to $5,000. Now, if I put $1,000 into it, I'll be able to sell it for, I want to say, between $7,500 and $8,500, and that is just comparing to other vehicles in this condition. With the if I cleaned up the paint, if I went ahead and cleaned out their interior, if I fixed all this stuff, this is comparing to other vehicles on the market right now. This is how much they go for. So the way that you budget is very simple. You figure out the things that it's gonna need. You know how much those things are gonna cost, because if you guys are taking my advice, you guys are working with one car at a time. If you guys wanna work with multiple cars, that's fine, guys. But just remember that I always recommend for you guys to know everything about a market, about a specific car, a specific year, like range. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just say you were working with Chevy Silverados, this body style between 2002 and 2006, I believe that's when they switched it. If you're working with this market, you'll know everything. You'll know exactly how much a turn signal assembly costs because you've done it before. You'll know exactly how much a tailgate handle costs because you replaced them before. Because this stuff happens all the time. You know, stuff like this breaks all the time on vehicles. So you'll know exactly how much things will cost. You know how much it'll cost for a paint job for the real tailgate. You know how much it'll cost for a headliner in case you gotta buy one. You know all the repair costs. So if you stick to one market, you'll be able to do that. But if you're doing multiple cars, that's fine too. You can do it, but you do lose on the ability to just look at a car and know how much it'll cost to fix and how much money you can make from it. So, like I said, I got all the pricing here. It'll cost me, I'm gonna budget $1,000. So let's just say I need $1,000 to get the car nice and ready. That'll give me an extra $3,000 worth of value, so I can sell it for between $7,500 and $8,500. I'm gonna post it for $82. once I get it all fixed up, right? Because that's around how much these cars are going for with this mileage, with this paint, with this interior, with this, this quality of car. Okay, now let's just say I can post it for 75 to 85. Realistically, I'm gonna say on the low end, I'm gonna post it, the lowest I'll take is 7,500. The lowest. I'm gonna post it for 83. So, I'm gonna post it for 83. I want 7,500. So, 7,500 minus 1,000 minus if you did buy the vehicle, if I paid money for this car instead of just buying it, getting it from my dad, then I would also subtract that price from the actual selling price, right? So I want to get 7,500 the least, right? That's what I want to sell it for. Now I'm gonna put $1,000 into it. Let's just say right now if I just as is, I would make $6,500. So me and my dad would split $6,500. So that would leave me with a profit of $3,250 if I split the money with my dad. Now, if I actually paid for the car, let's just say, right, I just picked it up for $3,000. So I picked it up for $3,000 from my neighbor that didn't want the car, and he's like, yeah, just pick it up and sell it, right? Let's just say I bought it for $3,000. So that means I'm into it for $3,000 for the actual car. Then the repairs cost me $1,000. Because I'm budgeting, guys. The reason why it's a budget is because, yes, I estimated $700 for repairs, but I'm also giving myself a little buffer there. Because, guys, remember, whenever you're working with cars, you're going to have a tire that needs to be replaced. The brakes are going to go out. Somebody's going to, people are going to come look at the car, and they're going to always mention, oh, yeah, this is broken, this is broken, this is broken. So you're going to have to replace that thing so people stop, pointing that thing out. So I gave myself a $300 buffer there. So let's just say I paid $3,000. I paid $3,000. I'm gonna put $1,000 into it. That's $4,000 into the vehicle. If I sell it for $7,500 like I plan on, I'm gonna be making $3,500, and that's if I bought the car myself, right? So I'll be making $3,500 if I stick to the budget, if I'm under budget, or if I'm on budget, I'll be making $3,500. If I spend $1,000, I'll be making $3,500. If I sell it, but if I'm under budget, that adds to the profit. Now, if I sell it for more than $7,500, because I'm posting it up for $83, $82, and somebody comes in and they're like, yeah, I want it, bro, I'll take it for $8,000, then that's gonna be more profit. But the least amount I'll be making is $3,500. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I know I'm talking about a whole bunch of numbers, guys, but please follow me. You figure out how much it's going to cost you for all the repairs that you see and you foresee, right? Let's just say those are $700. Then you give yourself between $300 and $500 buffer on top of that in case something else pops up. So let's just say you're budgeting $1,000 to get it to the point where you can take badass pictures of it and put it online. So you're $1,000. Then you're estimating that you're going to be selling it for $7,500. If you do everything right, and let's just say you paid $3,000 for the vehicle. Let's just say you do everything right, you got $4,000 into it, you sell it for $7,500. Subtract that, that's $3,500 of profit that you're going to make. And everything else on top of that you make is just gravy. Because if you do the work yourself, if you paint it yourself, you're going to save $300, so you're going to be making an extra $300. If you sell it for $8,000 instead of $7,500, that's an extra $500. So you're going to be making an extra $800 on top of the price that the minimum. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. God, I hope that makes sense. All right. The last thing I want to talk about, guys, is that's basically how you figure out your budget and how to know, okay, is this profitable? If I do all these repairs, am I going to be making decent money? Is it going to be worth my time? That's how you figure that out. But now, the last thing I want to talk about is just pricing itself, because it kind of like you kind of understand it as well. It's kind of in the same family. So, if you post it up for $8,200, and the first day you got 20 phone calls of people coming at you saying, I want to come right now to look at this vehicle. If it's everything you say it is, I'm going to give you the price that you want for it. What does that tell you? That tells you that you priced the vehicle very, very low and it's a very good deal for somebody. Again, this goes to the point of making sure you know your market. Because if you know your market, you'll be able to know exactly how much to price a vehicle at its current condition to make sure that people are interested in it. It's a good deal for people, and enough people are going to come to buy the vehicle, and you're going to make good profit anyways. You know what I'm saying? So if I say I want 8,200 for it, and I got 20 phone calls in an hour, that means that I priced it way below market value. And yes, I'm going to be making money because we know the budget, we know how much we're going to spend, we know how much money we bought it for. Yes, we're going to be making money. But you might want to take it down, repost it in 2 weeks for a little bit higher, maybe 9,000, and then see how that worked. And this is just talking, guys, whenever you're beginning in the industry. If you're beginning flipping cars, this is kind of how you want to think, and the way you want to really go at it is experimentation. Because remember, I don't know anything about Chevy Silverados. This is my first rodeo when it comes to these vehicles, but I do know the steps to figure out how much to sell a car for, how to figure out the budget for a vehicle, how to know how much repairs will cost, how much to buy a vehicle for to make sure that I can make money off of it. All the principles are the same no matter what car you flip. So long as you know the principles, you'll be able to make money. So, like I said, if there's 20 people calling you after you posted the ad after you posted the ad for 8,200, you might want to take it down and repost it. Or if you're happy with the profit you're going to be making and you're going to get rid of the vehicle like that, it might be good just to take the money and run and get to the next flip. Okay? And that's normally what I like to do. If I'm making good money, if I'm making over $3,000 on a flip, and I only spent a couple hours or maybe 2 or 3 days on the vehicle to get it ready for sale, I'm happy, right? At the end of the day, we're making money, we're good, we know the market now, we got a good deal on the car, so we can sell it for cheaper, so people are really interested in it. So take the money and run. In my opinion, that's always what I've said. If you're making more money than what you're putting in, you're not spending a ton of time, get rid of it. Free up your money for the next flip. That's what I always recommend. So that's just like a point that I wanted to make, because it kind of falls into the line of how much you should price it for. Because I don't know how much these things full go for, guys. I might post it up for 8,200 and nobody wants to come and look at it. I don't know yet. What I do know is I know the basic principles to figure out these things so that I'm in the ballpark. I won't know until I sell it. And that's the same thing with you guys. You won't know the market until you sell it and you do it consistently enough, and then you'll eventually can look at a car and say, okay, it needs paint, a scratch there, that'll cost this much. Okay, I'm gonna need $800 to fix everything. But if I pick it up for $2,500, I'll be able to make $4,000 off of it all day. I already know. Worst case scenario, $3,200, $3,000 if I'm gonna rush to sell it. All day. And that's how it happens when you know the market and you know everything that it entails. So stick to one market. In my opinion, I think you guys should. If you guys want to deviate, that's fine. If you want to do Mustangs and Camaros and you want to do trucks and you want to do everything, not a problem. But just understand that you might be leaving money on the table because you're not consistently growing on the knowledge of that one car. I recommend that you know everything about one car first and then move on, because that'll be your nice base. You'll know everything about it. You might have extra parts here and there for it. You might have some connections on hookups or parts. You might build good relationships with people that really are into the LS, trucks. Like I have a buddy that only sells Camaros, and he sends them to a guy in Germany. Another guy does Cadillacs only, like classic Cadillacs, and he sends them to Australia all the time. So he's built a relationship with those people. So whenever he gets a car, he hits them up and says, "Yo, I got this really good caddy, $12,000. He picked it up for $4,000, right?" And they're like, "Yeah, cool. Put it on the trailer. We'll pick it up next week." You know what I'm saying? So you'll have like connections. So that's why I say stick to one market first, build that market knowledge up first, then go to the next car. Build your knowledge on that car. Once you already have a good foothold on one vehicle that you're an expert in. And I always recommend, guys, like the car you're working with. I like Chevy Silverados, actually. I'm actually really liking this market. I love Mustangs. I like Ford Focuses. That's cars I like, And yes, I like BMWs and the higher end stuff, but I've never flipped the super high end cars. Like I've never done, over $70,000 cars. So for me, I stick to the lower end stuff because for me, this is easy. Like when I had my shop, people would come in, you know, basic repair stuff on Toyotas and Siennas and stuff, and I would just be like, oh, hey, if you ever want to sell your car, let me know. I'll pick it off. I'll buy it from you. I'll give you more money than the dealership will and your trade-in. And they would be like, yeah, okay. 6 months later, they were like, hey, do you still want to buy the car? I'm thinking about selling it, and I want to get something new. And I was like, yeah, how much you want? They're like, well, how much are you offering me? I'm like, well, how much does the dealer say? They're like, oh, they're giving me 900. I was like, okay, I'll give you 1100. And I would just pick it up, clean it up, put it up for, you know, 3,000. Because people didn't want to deal with the whole getting people to show up, creating an ad, all that stuff. Some people were just like, just get it. Because they were going to trade it in anyways. They were going to trade it in, get $900 for it. I come in and I give them an extra 400. They're happy. They don't have to deal with anything. They just get their money and they put it into their new car. You know what I'm saying? So I always dealt with the lower end cars. The higher end cars is the same exact idea, guys. It's all the same. Okay, it's all the same. Once you guys know what cars you're gonna work with, build your bankroll up to get to the point where you can pick up those cars and you'll be able to flip those cars as well. It's all the same, guys. You gotta just set a budget, know how much you can profit off of it, know how much money you have to pick up a car for, like how much, like if a car is being sold for this price, you have to know the math and do it quickly to figure out how much it's gonna cost to get it ready to sell and how much money you have to pick it up for so that when you do repair it, you're still making a good profit margin, okay? Because you make your money when you make your first money when you buy the car. If you buy a car cheap enough, you'll be able to sell it for a good profit no matter what. Okay, this car is free, so for me it's all profit. It's all profit. I mean, obviously I got to put money into it, but that's just, I'm gonna get that money back once we sell it. You know, maybe, I don't know yet. I'm still got to figure that out. It's my dad, so you know. But normally, if you are gonna do this, a lot of times people will say, well, you put the money into the repair, and then we can split the profits. A lot of people will do that if you do that. Sometimes you can negotiate and say, hey, we'll split the parts cost. I'll do the labor. And then we'll split the cost of the parts, and then we'll split whatever the profit is after that. So there's a lot of ways to do it, but I'm just kind of giving you guys ideas on how to do this stuff. All right, make sure you guys pick up my course because I go into crazy detail. I know I'm jumping around everywhere right now, guys. I'm getting destroyed by mosquitoes, so I hit the like button for the mosquito bites. Like I'm just, my legs, guys, are just gonna be itching tonight. Ugh, freaking mosquitoes, man. Hit the like button for the mosquito bites. Go to the description below where the course is, where I go into crazy detail. Because I know I'm jumping around. I'm going from, hey, if you got, you know, this price, then and you got 20 phone calls, and I'm going over here to like budget, and like you want to have a little buffer. I know I'm jumping around, guys. But in the course, that's why we created the course, to give you guys direct information pertaining to that, all the information pertaining to that topic. So that whenever you are in a situation where you're like, okay, how do I figure out how to budget, how to make sure that I know how much I'm gonna spend on repairs? Then you go to that section on budgeting for your flip, and it gives you all the information you're gonna need, exactly how to do it, step by step, explanations on each step, so it makes it super clear so you understand what you're doing. Because remember, guys, this isn't just like any other flipping course where you're like, oh, you get a car, you paint it, and then you sell it for a profit. No, I give you guys detailed explanations on why you need to think this way, and this is the way you have to see things for you to make a profit. The reason why I want to explain everything is so that you guys can take this information and use it for any car that you want to flip, because it's all universal. So long as you know the basic information, you'll be able, and use that as your platform, you'll be able to move up and then flip any car. You can flip Lamborghinis if you want. Doesn't matter, so long as you got the money to start with. You know what I'm saying? So go to the course. It gives you all the information there. I made sure that I gave you guys as much information as possible. And guys, as we progress with the flipping business, I'm going to update the course to make sure that we keep up with the new information and new technology coming out. Because remember, back in the day, back 2-3 years ago, Craigslist wasn't charging $5 per ad. Now they're charging for ads. What do you do in that case? Do you pay for the ad? Do you not? Do you put it somewhere else? Facebook Marketplace wasn't a thing back in the day. Now it's a player. What do we do with that? How do we navigate that? Do we do, you know, what do we do? So I give you all that information in the course. Thanks so much for watching, like always. Hit the like button. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.
Yeah, guys. Today I'm talking about this racket. Yeah, see this guy?
Bring that again. Just fuck around, move around.
It's go time! Two time.